everybody! Welcome back to G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And today we're going to have not a very long video, it's fairly short. I have to address a question from Marcel. And let me start off by saying, hey Marcel, you're the second person in my whole life, in all my years, that I ever met named Marcel. One of the other guys was a high school buddy of mine. Last name was Baudouin. He was a French boy. And I think he moved to like Tempe, Arizona. I don't know if he's still there or not. I've lost touch with him. But I dated his cousin for a while. Anyway, nice to meet you, Marcel. Welcome aboard. So, you wanted to know on my waste oil burner how I did the burn pot. Okay, well, let's get to it. First of all, let me turn on this little light down here and point it inside. All right, so this is my burn pot. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it does the job. This is an old stainless steel fry pan, and I cut those little notches in the side of it so that I could put it in any direction, and the drip pipe that sticks through fits right in any one of those four, whichever direction I put it in. So I don't have to try to wiggle it around in any specific manner. Okay, now this stainless steel fry pan is one of those that has that extra thick bottom on it, and it's supposed to be filled with some other metal that helps transfer heat evenly across the bottom of the pan. I think it's probably filled with aluminum, but who knows. Anyway, I found this pan in the desert in a junk pile, and I said, well, it doesn't have a handle. It's really not worth anything. It looked like somebody burned their breakfast in it and threw it away. So I turned it into a burn pan. Now, how does this work? Well, inside here, let me get this in picture. I drilled a 2.5-inch hole in the bottom of the tank here, and then around the edges, I got 4 of the 3/4-inch holes right down in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then that is actually half of the top ring, the handle ring, from a propane tank that I cut off, and I put that in to hold this pan up a little bit higher. So I didn't want to put a blower fan in here and have to use electricity. So what I wanted to do was get this pan in place like that, and just let the draft of the heat coming up and taking it up the vent. I wanted that draft to be the airflow that I need to burn in here. So how do I do this? Well, very simply, I have some gasoline right here, some old gasoline. Been sitting around a while. It might have some 2-stroke oil mixed in with it. Anyway, I keep a jar of that handy. And then I take a rag, and I put the rag in like this. This is just a paper towel, but I usually put a rag like an old sock or something like that in there. And then I pour the gas on it and let it sit there and soak. And then I turn on my oil flow, and I get oil flowing into the pan until I've got a good covering all the way across the bottom, maybe 1/4 of an inch deep. Then I'll take that rag and throw it in there. I'm not going to light it now because it's plenty warm in here. But I'll throw that rag right into the oil and then ignite it. I just light a piece of paper like this with my lighter there and just toss that in there, and it hits that sock and instantly flames. and then it'll start burning. And at that point, I have the oil shut off. So what I want to do is get the oil that's in the pan, the stuff that's in the bottom, I want to get that hot so that it's kind of putting off fumes. And once that starts burning and it heats up that pan that it's in, then the pan will help vaporize the oil that's going into it. Then I can turn my oil on and set my drip to the speed I want it and close the door. And then the draft is sucked up from underneath through those holes. It's dispersed around the flame and it draws the flame upward and it heats the metal tank. And then that metal tank, of course, radiates heat outward. So that's how I do that. Now, over here on this side, I made this little metal shield, and I have an aluminum CO2 bottle there that somebody gave me. I took the top neck out of it, and I filled it with sand, just plain sand. And that's a sand battery. So that absorbs heat coming off of this unit while this one's burning. And then after I shut the flame off on this, that sand battery stays warm for hours. Geez, hours. So it still puts off a little bit of heat. And at that point, I take this shield off so that it lets the heat go out into the room. That's how I do it. I hope that helps you out, Marcel. Any other questions? Leave them below in the comments. I'll see if I can square those away for you. So that's how I did my waste oil burner. And I could, on that 2.5-inch hole on the bottom, I could put a pipe underneath and hook up a blower like this one. Okay. I could hook this blower up to it, and I've done that once before. You can see how it's kind of dirty there. But then I have to use electricity blowing into it to get the heat going. And the only reason I would use that again is if the temperature was way down, like down to 0 or something, and I wanted to get it hot in here fast. So I have that piece of 1.25-inch pipe there with an elbow on the end. I can slide right underneath there, right underneath that 2.5-inch hole, connect the blower on the other end of it, and turn it on, and the added oxygen blowing in there will make the oil vaporize and burn hotter. But I haven't had to use that because the high desert here, it really never gets down below, I think the lowest I've ever seen it is like 24. So that's my story. Any other questions you have there, Marcel? I'll be glad to see if I can answer them for you. This is G Bear signing off.